Hello and welcome to the fifth lecture on the Higher Study in the US series. And here we will discuss on the fourth and last weakness, that is TOEFL speaking. As you know, that we have been discussing on common GRE and TOEFL weaknesses like vocabulary, analytical writing, reading comprehension, and today's lecture will be on TOEFL speaking. If you have come this far, congratulations, you're making progress and you're being consistent. So generally, a lot of students take preparation for GRE and TOEFL simultaneously. That helps for several sections of TOEFL, like reading, writing, etc. And about listening, generally watching TV series or movies, those kind of things actually help, but not for speaking, because this section is kind of different than the other sections. So this is a dedicated video on just TOEFL speaking. So in order to address a limitation or a problem, we have to find the reason of the problem. For example, think about this scenario. A lot of the international students have English as their second language, not the first language. They do not grow up learning this language. Rather, they learn this in school or as a second language with lots of rules, regulations, and grammar. That's why they find trouble communicating with it. For example, we think in our native language and then translate in English in our brain and then present it with our limited capacity. And that's why, in general, our speaking skill is somewhat poor. And if we talk about STEM field, we do communicate through our presentations and workshops and seminars, but in those functions, we generally present technical slides full with technical jargons and terminologies, which we are very familiar of, but we do not use day-to-day English in our communications. And that's why we are not good in communicating with English, and we're not good in speaking. So that's why we should try to think in English if we want to talk fast. And this habit grows if you practice regularly and if you actually use English words in your day-to-day communication. So after finding these factors, let's go to specifically TOEFL issues. The score in the speaking section generally depends on several factors, whether you have been able to complete your response, whether you have been organized in your response, or have you been speaking gibberish. How is your pronunciation? Is it understandable? It must not be very fancy, but it must be understandable by the grader. And also, how is your selection of words, and how is your sentence structures? That sort of language parameters that affect hugely the score. So I will just talk about 3 strategies. The first one is that you should practice in a crowded environment. And in order to recreate the real scenario of the test center, you should run a YouTube video where you are practicing and record your response there to see whether you can make a good response in a crowded environment, and choose a really noisy video so that keeping concentration on your topic is really a challenge. And that's how you can recreate the test center environment in your at your home. And the second strategy is that sometimes we focus too much on making a large response. We want to say too many things in the allotted time limit, but this is not a good idea. Rather, we should focus on completion. We should not try to say a lot on the topic. Rather, we should take short notes and be organized in our response. If you can say 3 or 4 complete sentences that actually contain all of the information they're looking for, that will do. And when you practice to make complete responses, then you can go on for making longer sentences, and you can say more in the same allotted time. It comes with practice. And the third strategy is that you should create samples, that is sample videos of your responses, and you should go through those, like how you are doing. You should observe those and you should find out your weaknesses. And you, as I have been saying repeatedly in my earlier videos, you should always practice in time condition to develop an intuition on how much you should talk in 1 minute time limit. A good idea is to choose 2 examples that you will discuss on. And the third point is that don't fumble, don't mumble. Generally, we use a lot of noises in between our words, like or this kind of noises we make when we are out of words. So instead of fumbling and instead of mumbling, instead of creating awkward silences, we should use filler words. For example, some trigger words or direction of sound kind of words to make our response very coherent and fluent, so that it can help us get good score. And you should always go through the samples that you have recorded before. That's how you can improve by yourself. If this video is useful for you, please subscribe. Thanks.